Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the interview, the LA edition. And man, I'm really excited today because I got somebody who I've got to see grow, who got to see me grow. We've gotten to grow together. And at this point, he's pretty much a legend in the streets of Los Angeles for a lot of things. But ladies and gentlemen, we have Go with us. I hope y'all ready for today, man. What's up, man? Thanks for coming through.
Man, thank you, man. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, I reached out, and lucky enough, I have a personal relationship with you that you was able to say, yeah, because earlier, you told me you get a lot of people hitting you up that want interviews, and you tell them no.
Yeah, it just got to be meaningful. I feel like in this space now, it's a lot of like trolling and political stuff. And what I like about what you're doing is that you ask questions that's really helping the culture. People can really learn from, and so that's kind of like that's what kind of made me intrigued to do it because I knew like I just know your purpose is greater than just a troll. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
appreciate that, man. Well, go ahead, introduce yourself, man. Tell people who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
Well, my real name is Gortier. I'm known by Go or Gordy. We started a brand called Urban Trademark 2011, me and my wife, Malika. And I'm an alchemist, man. I just kind of like, I'm a visionary. I just move with a purpose.
Now, people may know you more now for the brand you've built, which on your hat, which go ahead and lean out. If people haven't seen it yet, let's go ahead and show them that urban trademark. And you say you started that in 2011. Now I know a little bit about your story. I know why you started it, what it led to, the trials and tribulations. But let's just talk about why you even started the brand in general.
Out of necessity, I was fresh out of prison. Couldn't get a job. I had two strikes. And so I kind of just went to like what I knew. I always been like I always dressed in high school. Like I always been the fly, just in tune. So I kind of went to what I knew. I always wear hats growing up. And so yeah, I went downtown, and, bought some hats wholesale, started selling them at Venice Beach. And then one day a police officer said they passed a law saying that you only could sell art on the boardwalk. So I went home, I came home to my wife. I'm like, "Oh, I'm Daryl. Like I can't sell at the boardwalk no more because it got to be considered as art." So I had this bin full of hats, and I was like, you know what? We about to tweak it. Like, let's see what we could come up with. So I ended up going on YouTube and I typed in custom hats just to get like, some ideas and references. And I seen Just Don, he was talking about buck 50 hats and how like back in the day they used to lay python on the hats and they used to call them buck 50 hats because they used to sell them for $150 to all the drug dealers. But then at the same time, I started to see his hats, and he was selling his hats for $400, and they was all Python. So
Oh, honey.
I'm thinking to myself like, damn, I'm like, first off, like, even if I learn how to do this skill set, like, I don't think off the rip, just starting off, I got a clientele for $400. You know what I'm saying? So I was thinking about it, then it just clicked. Like a lot of times, things, just ideas, I just see vision. So I'm like, you know what? Let me try some fabrics. So the next day we went downtown and we just went to the fabric district and we ended up going to Michael Levine. And then it was like the Matrix because like I just start seeing stuff. I just start seeing patterns on certain hats and just like, I don't know, it was just different. So then that was the easy part because then I start seeing what would go on what. But then when we got home, we figured out how to lay the hat one way, but it had the lines in it. And I told Lika, like, this is weak because it take away the aesthetic of the fabric. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you got like a print, you want people to see the print. So it took like another like week and a half, 2 weeks, and I'll never forget. I was smoking and I told Lika, I'm like, I got it. She's like, you got what? I think I know how to do it. I think so we took the hat in the room, we busted down, and Lika was like, yeah, this looks this is it. Like this looks good. And then from there it was just like it was just, all God really.
Man, and shout out to the women in our life, man, that really know how to Man, empower, man. Cause I told my girl this morning, I was like, man, I was like, I need you around because
Yeah.
you help me. You just help me feel confident. So shout out to your wife. And I remember you saying in a song, because I want people to understand the weight of what you created, right? Everybody creates something and does something. But so you took these hats now that you learned how to do it, you just took them to Venice Beach and were just out there on the street. I mean, what was that like?
Well, so after we figured it out and I knew it was gold, like once I knew like this is a hot product, I took it back to the beach and then it was just like,
But
man,
how did you know it's a hot product? Like you just because everybody think they shit hot. Like let's keep it. Like,
I
everybody think they
knew
got the
I
hot.
I knew it was hot because I showed it to Lika. She said it, and then I showed it to my mom. She was like, "Yeah." I use the world as a focus group. Like I'm all at first I gotta love it, but then once I love it, I show it to the world. And once it's like the world is ran off numbers, right? It's called ratio. So if I show a hat to 10 people and 8 people say they like it, I got something. Now if I show that same
Mm-hmm.
situation and only 4 people say they like it, now it's like you know what I'm saying? It's percentages. Like, I don't know. So once I showed it to everybody and it was like, I seen their faces and their reactions, I knew like, okay, I'm in tune. Let's take it back to the field.
So let's take it to the field. I remember in the song you saying you made $100,000 off of those hats, right?
Thanks.
Yo, like
The
I
first
want
year,
people, like hold on now.
grossed
Like
100 the first year.
like what kind of hustle is required for you to have an idea, say I'm gonna lay fabric over the hats, which at the time, this is 2011, right? 2012. It wasn't being done yet. I want people to understand this too, because now people do it, but it was not being done. And what kind of hustle did you have to have? Like, what'd your day look like for you to actually make 100,000 off the street selling hats?
I ain't had no day. It was this grind. Like it was just it was like, the thing about being an entrepreneur, man, is sacrifice, and so when I took it back to the beach, they was moving. But then shout out to Rob, my homie Rob, that they had opened a store in the Beverly Center called Shop Tradition. And I guess he had seen on the gram I was posting it. So he was like, bro, I don't know if, you know what I'm saying, like if what it looked like is in person, but I want to see them. Like just bring them up here. And if they look fire, we want to carry them in the store. So I'm like, all right, I'm like, bet. So I bring them up there and they face lit up. They was like, nah, this is it. And so I'll never forget, they took like 12 of them. I had like 12. They took all 12 and it was like, we're gonna price them at $100. I was selling them for 65 to 75, depending on the fabric. So when they said 100, I just scratched my head. I'm like, all right, bet. Like, I believe, I got faith. Like, this is
Right.
hot. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like within like a day or two, I was calling. But before that, though, on the way when we was leaving the Beverly Center, I told my wife, I'm like, we got to go buy more hats and more fabric. She like, what? We ain't even sell them yet. I'm like, they sold.
Right. They out of here.
They out of here. So then I'll never forget, like a day and a half, like 2 days, Rob hit me. He was like, yo, we need more hats. You got more ready? I'm like, yep, we working right now. We're gonna bring them first thing in the morning. And then, so it's just preparation, man, being ready for the moment. Like I already knew like they was gonna move because they was moving on the boardwalk. So now that you give me um like, a bigger location where I know it's gonna be more foot traffic, it's just common sense that okay, if it's a hot product here, it's gonna be a hot product there.
See, now that's a huge part of the story because you were on the beach selling these on Venice Beach on the boardwalk. And did you have like a space set up, or did you have like were you just walking up and down? It's like how like what was that like?
So in the beginning, I had like I sat right by the skate park because it's a lot of traffic over there. And then I was like, after that, I was like, it's cool. But then I was like, I don't know. Some just told me just get a table and then set up on the boardwalk. And once I got that table and set up on the boardwalk, it was
It was
it,
over.
it was up. It was up. So yeah, it was just thinking it out. Just kind of like if this worked, we're gonna do this. But if this don't work, let's make an adjustment. Do this.
Man, and then it ends up getting on in the Beverly Center, and
But I
I'm
but not to cut you off,
no, go ahead.
I want to shout out Tree because some like Monday through Thursday, like Venice would be cool, but then it just like on the weekends it'll be popping. So like Monday through Thursday, I would hit Tree up and I'd be like, Tree, let's hit the streets.
Talking about big tree. Yeah, I know a
Yeah,
tree. Yes, tell me. Yeah.
I was
Shout
like,
out to Tree, man.
I'd be like, Tree, let's hit the streets. And then everything we sell, I'll just bust it down with him. He'd be like, man, I don't need nothing, man. I'm good, you know. And I'm like, nah.
That's what's up.
So yeah, that was because it's just like certain spots had their days. So
Yeah.
once I figured out like Monday through Thursday it was slow, I was like, I gotta hit the streets. You know what I'm saying? Then the weekends it be popping.
So
So
when you hit the streets, like where did you go? Like
we was
where would you
on
be at?
Broadway, Fig, laundromats, all through the city. Like Tree will tell you, like, you gotta interview Tree because we was all through the city, man. And I feel like,
Really grind, like really in the streets.
yeah, really in the streets for real, for real.
So
Laundromats, pulling up on bus stops.
just pulling up on people, showing them like, hey. And a huge part of the story because, now that you're in the Beverly Center, a lot of celebrities started to wear your stuff. And I'm a huge fan of name dropping. So please don't feel any type of modest way. Who are some of the celebrities that people have seen wearing Urban Trademark?
It's a lot, man. I mean,
we go from Chris Brown. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you. I know. Nobody like the name drop, but I think it's important because for the public, that's how the public understands things. Public. So it's not. I know for us, it's not really don't matter, but for the people who are going to see this publicly, they're attached to these names. Okay. So I want them to understand the weight of who we have today, of who you are, and why you are so important to the culture and what you've created.
You know what it is? I'm gonna throw some names, but I really feel like everybody is celeb because that $100 price point or that $75 price point, it ain't really about the notoriety. It's about the reciprocation. Mm-hmm. So like, I mean, we do got the Chris Browns, the Miley Cyruses, the Kevin Durant's, the NBA young boys, the NLE Choppers, the Jeremiah's, the NFL. I mean, it's endless. NBA is just. I mean, just going to Graham is PNB R&P to rest in peace to PNB Rock. It's a lot. It's a lot of people, man. It's a lot of people. That's so much that I just sometimes, it's love. I just look at it as love. But I really be feeling like anybody that supports the brand, I look at them all the same because the money is the same.
Yeah.
You feel me? Anytime you got to go out and work and you spending that working money, to reciprocate it to us, that's the love. Like whether, what I'm saying, you got this fame or you don't got the fame, the dollar is the same.
Yeah, it don't matter who's spending it, right? That's real. And I'm glad you said that because some people would get hung up on celebrities wearing their stuff or whatever the case may be. And they think that, oh, I'm on now. And it's like, yeah, that's still just $100. It's a $100 customer. That's all it really is.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good feeling. Don't get me wrong. It definitely, because anybody that's like talented, it just show that they see the value in your talent. So it's definitely reciprocated. But at the same time, I don't really hold a bigger value to nobody that's, what I'm saying? It's just, to me, it's just love. You know what I'm saying? Like if you support, it's love.
Man, respect. Yeah. Now you from LA, right? You from Los Angeles. Well, what part exactly around? What's the streets do you I guess hail from? Me, I'm from Inglewood, so the South Central, the Compton. What part of LA?
It's just LA because my mom, like, she was on the west side, and then my dad, George Stewart, he would be on the east side. So like, and then through all out my life, my mom was a hustler and my dad was a hustler. So I used to move a lot. Like we'll be over here for a couple of years, then we'll be over here for a couple of years, and if it's lit, then we up over here. So it's really just LA because at some parts I was in Inglewood, certain parts I was on King, certain parts I was, my dad on the other side of Broadway. And so I just feel like I embody LA in general.
Yeah. And I asked this question because you well traveled, I'm sure, by this point, and we've been around. We know how different it is everywhere else, and I feel like every place has their advantages and disadvantages. What advantages do you think that you've received because you are from such a place like LA?
It's opportunity. The LA has the biggest opportunity as far as like resources and who you can meet and how you can leverage who you meet and how you can build. So other places they have certain like similar things, but here is it's a pool of that. And if you really focus and you in tune and you know what you want, it's endless.
Yeah.
But it's a mirage too, though. It's a
talk about
mirage.
talk about that. Talk about
It's a mirage too, though. So you gotta, like, a lot of people that move here, they get caught up in that. I see that a lot. When I used to be in my truck, I meet people and I see them like a year later, and it's just I could tell they in the mirage, they in the matrix. So you gotta understand, like, you gotta find your way in the mirage in the matrix.
right, because them palm trees will fool you, like you said. It's a whole nother world going on beneath them palm trees.
It's a fact.
So disadvantages, like I said, there's also disadvantages from coming from Los Angeles. For everybody has a different reason, but what would you say what were some of the disadvantages you feel like because that you were given because you're from Los Angeles?
A disadvantage that could be is just a lack of not being able to focus because it's so much. So like
Mm-hmm.
just as much as that's an advantage, that could be a disadvantage because it's a lot. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you got to really have a plan.
Yeah, because I always say LA is from what I've talked to people, it's a lot of landmines here, and avoiding those landmines is probably like you said, there's so many here because there's so much going on here. So there's so many things to get into.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the truck, which I want to talk about because I think that's a super, super important part of that. And I just remember you talking about it. You was like, man, I'm gonna get an ice cream truck. And I remember you kind of had the plan, kind of not fully. You was like, man, if I got to, I sell ice cream on that day. So I thought that was pretty cool. But let's talk about the UTM truck because now that has its own personality, right? Now people recognize the truck, which is once again another outstanding move to separate you from everybody else. What the idea from having a truck and what was the process? Because it wasn't easy. I saw you go through that process of making that truck. What was that like?
So the idea kind of came about really when I was locked up in prison. That truck was supposed to be a mobile barbershop. So when I was in prison, I was kind of like I kind of knew it was gonna be hard for me to get a job because I had two strikes, felon. So I was kind of like mapping my comeback. But when I got out, I don't know. I guess the clothes just took off for me. So I was cutting hair a little bit. I was cutting my dad hair, all the old heads.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then I don't know, the clothes was just taking off. And then I just, we opened up a store 2013, and I learned a lot about business, because being in the Beverly Center, I was in a great location, but that location, shout out to Jason. Jason was spending 50,000, I think 50,000 or something like that when he first opened the store
On rent
on
alone,
rent.
huh?
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yikes.
to offset that, we opened up in Inglewood and we was paying 1,800 a month, right? But after the bills and doing everything, every month I was looking like I went from like just eating, going out eating at nice restaurants every week. We enjoying our time. We just, to now I'm not saying I didn't. It's just about location, man. In LA, you got to pay for location. Like this right here, I commend you because you're in a great location, Keith, but you pay for this.
Yeah,
And I want the
bro.
people to know
I
when
bring
you,
my lunch to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey,
you know,
ain't no eating out.
so I want you to know that. So we opened up in Inglewood because at the time we stayed up the street right there. So, me just wanting to try something new, I opened up at that location and I realized like a lot of the people that were supporting me, they wasn't coming to Inglewood. They would go to the
Mm,
Beverly Center and spend that $100, but they wouldn't come to the hood.
yeah.
So I was like, okay, once I seen that, like after 5 months in, I'm like, okay, bet. I see what's going on. Cause you know what I'm saying? Cause like it was just, I'll be posting the store on the gram and the same people that I see going in the Beverly Center spending 100 for the hat. The hat is 75 in the wood. I'm just trying to
Right.
show love to the community. They're like, nah. So then one time, T Fly came in, right? And this one it hit me. I had a vision. I'm like, okay, we're gonna have to make an adjustment. T Fly came in. So he like, these the hats from the Beverly Center. I'm like, yeah, I make them. He like, you don't make those hats. I'm like, I do. I make those. I facilitate the Beverly Center. He's like, nah. So he called his homie. He started showing them pictures and stuff with the whoop. It's sending them pictures. And then so he like, what made you wanna? I'm like, man, I just want to, open a store in the hood in the community. So then what hit me was I ring him up. He buy like 5 hats, right? I tell him the price. He like, and granted, he already bought hats from the Beverly Center. He had
Right.
like 5 or 6 hats from the Beverly Center that he spent 100 for.
Mm-hmm.
But now my hats in Inglewood is 75. So when we ring him up, I'm like, he slick at the price. He like, bro, you think you can show me a little love? And I'm like, that's when it hit me. I'm like, the fact that I'm in this location and you able to talk to me and have a verbal conversation with me, you want me to discount the price that you already discounted because you was spending 100.
Right.
So that's when I realized all the way around location matter, because he just saw the perception that I was in Inglewood. So I don't know if it lowered the value of the product,
Mm.
but when he asked me for that discount, I kind of was like, when he left, I was putting the play together. I was like, I get why. Because when he went to the Beverly Center, he didn't know it was a black man making this product.
Mm.
And the location was prestigious. To,
Wow.
to oppose when he came to Inglewood, it was like, hey, man, you think And that's when I was like, okay, bet, I get it. And so once I, start to see that, I just was like, okay, when my lease comes up, I'm gonna make a decision. Me and my wife had a conversation. I'm like, I think I'm gonna go with my first idea with the truck. And then we did the truck, and it was love because shout out to my pops, because I'll never forget I was cutting his hair and I had told him I was about to do the truck. And he was like, man, you always coming up with ideas, man. But this one right here, this the one, because you ain't gonna have no overhead. You gonna
Right.
own it. Another thing too, I was leasing that spot. So we did the bill out for the truck. We might have put like 15,000 in, 14,000 in, and we made that back the first summer.
Wow.
So now we talk about NIP. We all money in and we own it. It's ownership in it. Like right now, that's an asset. Since the pandemic, trucks has been going up because
Yeah.
everything is going mobile.
Yep.
So I just, what I'm saying, all that played a factor to seeing like if I did the store for 10 years, what would it look like versus if I did the truck? And I just knew the truck was like the next move. I seen it in my head, like this is what we need to be on.
And that's an important story. I mean, an important story that you just shared, because I've even shared my hardships and I've understood people get in the business. They don't, and the only way to learn is to go through it, because where we from ain't nobody showing us. So I've had to learn like, overhead is a real thing. It costs to do whatever you want to do. And you decide to go with the truck. And now you hit, you say you put 15,000 in the truck. Why did you have to put 15,000 in the truck? Like what, like just for details for people, like what kind of upgrades was you doing? And what kind of truck? So people
Because
don't understand. It's just not a GMC.
it's cut and sewn. That truck is custom. We cut the roof out. First of all, the truck, this alone is a prestigious truck. That truck is right side drive. So just finding the truck was hard. It took a couple months just finding somebody who had the truck. Because I had in my mind that Pacific truck. Like I knew I didn't, because I wanted something that wasn't overwhelming the block. I wanted
Right,
something that I could
right.
just pull up and it's just, so
Because it's not like it's kind of like a Amazon, small Amazon UPS style truck, right?
well, yeah, it's a mail truck.
Okay, so it's a
But
mail truck.
but but this truck, they only make this size of particular size of this truck for only 4 years. So it's a 1984. So this
Wow.
size is only made for 4 years, and then they got smaller. So I knew I'm tall. My wife is tall, so we needed the height and the length. So I knew I had to go out and search for this truck. And so when we found it, and even then I already knew what customizations I had to do for it to be fitting.
So, because I know that when you bought the truck, I remember I feel like I seen you post on the gram. The truck was not in great condition, right?
No, shout out to my uncle Lo and George and Donnie. Um, they was the ones that kind of like helped me see out the vision, man. My uncle Lo, it was like, sometimes, man, being a visionary, like you explain things to people, and I could tell by facial expressions if you could see it with me and if you can't. And my uncle Low, man, he was like, man, I've been like, he was like, he was ready for the challenge. And then shout out to George, because George did all the mechanic work, all the engine work. And then shout out to Donnie, because Donnie was this assistant. Like anytime I hit Donnie, like, yeah, I got you. I'm a helping hand. Like whatever you need, he was putting a play together. So yeah, man, it was just love, man. There's a lot of love in that truck.
And now, like I said, the truck, you know, and I'm gonna have to, if I do post as a client, I have to show a picture of the truck so people really understand. When last time you posted a before and after picture for the truck, man? I want people, I need people to understand what the truck, because I remember you sanding that thing down. I mean, you went to work. I mean, you kind of,
Yeah,
you gutted it.
we went to work.
Yeah.
Everybody did everybody, but it was a lot. It was we gutted it out because it was horrible. It wasn't running. It was missing gas tank. All the parts around the engine was
How
missing.
much did you actually pay for the truck itself?
3,800.
Okay. Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
And I had to fix it all up.
yeah.
Wow. Man, hey, like I said, we got to post a before and after picture so people can really
It was just a
understand.
shell. It
That there it was. It
it
was
was
just a
just
shell.
it was just a shell. Like it was to the average person, they would have looked at that was like, what do you? And that, actually, when we brought the truck back to the house, everybody was looking like, why we got, you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, all right,
All
yeah,
right,
I
there you
see.
go, tripping again.
Yeah, yeah, all right. We gonna see.
No, that's what's up, man. I want to talk to you a little bit about the music because that's something that you then picked up on, and I love the way you approach it because you approach, I guess, anything now as a form of business. A lot of people do music because they passionate about it, which is great, or they enjoy it. But the way you approach music, and from what I remember, has always been from a business standpoint. So I guess what got you into the music, and I just for reference, I remember I heard hearing Dawg said the reason why he got into music because somebody came to the city and made 60,000 and left, and he was like, "Oh, no way!" And that's why he got into it. Why'd you get into the music?
Couple reasons. First, so we had conquered the fashion. Like it was like I feel like as a creative, you supposed to continue to push yourself and elevate and evolve. We had got to the point where the fashion was running. It was doing what it needed to do. And so I never forget. I had went. Uh, this I'm gonna just say this. Shout out to Luxury Tax 50. He used to always support. And I had went one time and we dropped some stuff off. And one of his homies came in. I don't want to do the name drop, but somebody came in that was like, man, you do music? I was like, nah, I just sell clothes. I do fashion. I sell all that over there. It was like, man, you got the image. You look like, you look like an artist. I'm like, bet, thank you. And then so after that, I was going home, and then I started to see the game change. Like a lot of when I first came in the game, a lot of artists like they didn't have their own brands. Like so, like the Chris Browns, he didn't have Black Pyramid, so he was buying a lot of our stuff, and everybody was buying our stuff. But then I realized that a lot of the artists started just like, nah, we gotta start branding ourselves. So I started to see the game change a little bit. I was seeing that. So one day I was going home and I was like, I seen a Guitar Center. I just pulled in that joint and I took all the bread that I had just came from, making this play. I just invested into equipment. And I just told myself, I'm gonna just have fun and figure it out. So I buy all this equipment and then I'm playing with it for a couple of days. Then I hit Kev. I'm like, yo, Kev, I just bought a mic and I'm using GarageBand. Pull up, man. Let's just vibe out. He like, what? You making music? I'm like, yeah. So he pull up. We just started having fun with it. And so in the beginning, it was just, I feel like the clothing wasn't a challenge to me anymore. I needed something. I needed a new thrill. I needed something to push
Mm-hmm.
me to the next level. And I feel like that the music was just something that was something for me to kind of like challenge myself. And then After doing it after a while, it started, that's just me. It just click in like, okay, this costs money. So we got to have,
Right, because now it's costing you. So
yeah,
it's like, what's
we got an ROI. We got to figure out how to, return on our investment. So I started, once I take something serious, it's up. So once I start taking it serious, that's when I start approaching it serious, and it was still always, I always keep it fun, but I just had to make it make sense when I'm having the fun. And so that's really how I look at music. Like it's still a challenge for me because even though we like right now it's up, we're doing very well. It's I still feel like I ain't conquered it yet because so many more components. See, with clothing, I'm just selling me. I'm just like I get fly. So when I create something, I'm just sharing what I would give to the world if I was wearing it.
hmm
But with music, it's like it's a little bit more variation than that.
See, now I want people to really understand too why we talking about music, because there's a lot of people who make music out here, and there's a lot of people who probably quote unquote are more famous than you on a music scale, but you probably make more money than them off,
No,
off
man.
your music. Nah, man, I just seen the post, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you're to a point where you gotta now you gotta foul that stuff. You know what I mean? That's crazy, you know. So, you know, how like what's a different mindset of that? Because you actually make money off of your music, and a lot of people don't. And that's right there separates you from the pack. I mean, like what is that like?
Doing good business. I mean, that's simple. Just understanding business. Like, you know, let me just rewind. Because experience is something that's not a value, but I need the people to know that that's the best value you can ever have. In fifth grade, I used to have a book of Pokemon. Not to go back that far, but I just want to
No,
elaborate
that's cool. No,
my,
no, for
my
sure. No,
my
go ahead.
mindset or why my mindset is like this. In fifth grade, I used to have a book full of Pokemon cards, right? And I never forget. I brought my collection to school one day, and one of the kids was like, I had a lot of doubles. Like I had at least like the first 10 pages was all holographics. So my book was very intriguing when I pulled it out, and I'll never forget. A kid was like, "Yo, would you sell me this Onyx and this and this?" And at that moment, I understood the value of just having something that people want. So it clicked to me. I was like, I sold the doubles. All my doubles I had, I sold them. And I put in my mind, like, damn, if I could sell my doubles, I can go to the car store every Friday and I have more chances to win more holographics. So I was in because once my collection was so potent that I was just trying to get holographics because I knew if I get like a Charizard or a Venusaur, something just fire, I could sell it for 150 instantly because the car store was giving it up for that. So that's when I started to understand this supply and demand, right? This business. And so when you ask me about the music, I approach it business. I know that if I make a hot product, I just got to figure out how to get it to the people. Marketing. Same way I figured out when I made a hat, I got to go to the beach because I got to be in front of people. Same way when we put the hats in the Beverly Center, I knew it was going to sell because we was in front of people. So the name of the game is just making something hot. The product got to be hot. Like I mean, that's just my opinion. When the product is hot, it just holds more value.
All right.
You right? But the name of the game, you can have a hot product, but you got to be able to know how to market it. And I feel like I'm a great marketer because I've been marketing my whole life. Like, from I sold everything, man. Like not like that, but I've hustled my whole life. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like people in the city that know me will tell you that. They will confirm that. So whether it was Kool-Aid gummies, whether it was selling sidekicks, ninth grade, that's how I really got my name to fame. Is um shout out to Mexican E and Sean. I'll never forget they had pulled up to the block and Sean was like, hop in the car. And I'm like, bet. So we hop in the car. At the time I had an I-730 and an I-95. But everybody knew I was sell. Like that was just my thing. Like I would hustle everything. So he was like, I'll never forget, he pulled out the sidekick. And I'm talking about this. This is the gray joint, the very first sidekick. When I
Yeah.
talk about the sidekick 2, the LXs, all that, I'm talking about the very first sidekick. He pulled it out brand new in the box. And he like, you think you can move these? And I'm like, yeah. But I'm saying it was crazy because I said yeah too, because I wanted it too. I wanted it for myself. So I'm like, yeah, I can move them. So he like, bet I'm gonna give you 4 of them. He gave me 4. Now the night before I go to school, I'm thinking out how I'm gonna market this product. So then I came up with a plan. I told myself I'm gonna take only one to school. I'm gonna have mine. One is already mine now. I'm using mine because they was burnouts. So they work. You know what I'm saying? I'm on LL Instant Messenger. You know what I'm saying? It's lit. I'm using it. I'm learning how to use it. So when I do market it, I can show people what it do.
Right.
So I took one to school. I left the 3 at the house. So I said, I'm not gonna bust it out until lunchtime. I'm gonna wait till I'm sitting on the bench until everybody get their pizzas or whatever, and I'm gonna just and it was up. Like I whipped it out, and then next thing you know, within like 3-4 minutes, it's a crowd around me. What is that? Because I was the only person at the school had it.
Right.
And so this is even before the Jay-Z
And
"Excuse Me,
and and
Miss"
this
video
and
come
this is
out.
what
This
this
before
you said
the
it's like seventh grade. You said
no, this ninth grade.
ninth grade.
This
Okay.
ninth grade. And so I mean, you know what I'm
After that, it
saying?
was up.
It was up, you know what I'm saying? And so once again, that supply and demand. I knew the product was hot. I knew it was hot, but now it's
Mm-hmm.
like, how do I present the product? You know what I'm saying? And so at the time, everybody was on Boost. Niggas either had Nokias or I-95s or 730s. You know what I'm saying? And so I knew Instant Messenger was hot. Now everybody will go everybody will go home and get on Instant Messenger when they get home, but this has Instant Messenger on it. So I
Right.
knew that was
Right.
the marketing sale, like, oh, whoopty whoop. So it's just understanding, man. I tell people like, I can see something and know exactly where we could take it. And that's just come from experience.
And I want to say something because I think that most people's problem now, because marketing is mainly everybody use social media. That's it. That's the only way people market things now, right? They
Yeah.
thinking like, as long as I make an Instagram post, I'm gonna get a million sales, right? That's everybody's thinking,
Everybody want to hit the lotto.
right?
But
And
who
and
hits the lotto?
and you understand it from a different perspective, and I think that does give you a leg up because most people can't get that part what you talked about, which is marketing. That's mostly everyone's issue. And I asked you earlier, man, how'd you make 100,000 off of selling hats, in a year? And you said, just in this answer, you said, man, I knew I had to go get in front of people. And anybody listening out there, understand as an entrepreneur, you got to get in front of people. You can't just sit at the house. My man Go was literally in the streets. Shout out to Tree, say he was in the streets with him.
And Greedy at some point he was in there with us.
Right, everybody,
Really the gang, really. Really.
So, as we kind of move now into the music, I mean, we moved on to the music and we talked about that. And I will give you credit because I had to call Kevin on it. I said, man, Gordy is a machine, first of all.
Gotta be. You a
And
machine too. Look at this.
but your marketing, bro, it's so funny because I called Kevin. I said, man, Gordy is killing my algorithm because the stuff he's posting, I can't take my eyes off and it's giving me more of it. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely have a keen strategy that's working for sure. And I want people to understand the weight of what you've done and how you market your product.
Thank you.
You're also a father, man, and I want to really take some time to talk about that. And being a husband and a father, really, because that's two different jobs. How do you do that? Because I mean, being an entrepreneur and trying to have a successful family and be there, is it tough? Is it easy? You make it easy? What's the sauce? Do you got the sauce? I mean,
It's balance.
okay.
It's balance, and you gotta care. You gotta care to be there. It's that. I feel like, you know, it's I got this thing, me and my wife, we trying to break generational curses. It's just certain things that, we know that us growing up we didn't have because our elders, for whatever reason, either they had to work harder or they just didn't have certain time to do certain things. So 7, it's like it's just about the balance with her, trying to make sure that
Just not to cut you off, everybody knows Seven is his daughter, so everybody knows that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so okay, go ahead.
Seven, my daughter, it's just about finding that balance where, she know that we here for her, we here to support her, we here to show her, what I'm saying? Just everything that we learned and we here to push her so she could be better than us. And I think like you gotta care to want to do that. That's not something that's like either you doing it or you not doing it. Ain't no in between. And so that's the biggest thing is balance because we still got a brand. We still got a business to run. We still got to get out here and work. And you know what I'm saying? Because everything costs money. So we still got to, but I feel like at the same time, we can't use that as an excuse to not give that time to our kids.
So I know. So how do you balance? Do you have like I don't know, like date nights with your wife? Do you got time where you just don't answer the
It
phone
ain't
for
no
nobody
it
else?
ain't no blueprint, man. You just gotta set in your mind that you gotta do it. Cause it's like ain't no blueprint to parenting. We all learn it. But you just gotta like you gotta have a discernment and you gotta say, you know what, I gotta go over here and give Seven this time. Or I gotta, you gotta mark a day out the week where it's like, okay, we going here, Seven. Something that she could build up to, like, okay, bet. And she can hold you accountable. Well, Dad, we going to the park this week, right? Or we going to this and that, or and that's the best advice I can give to you is that it's like you just gotta want to do it. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no like certain formula to do it. You just got to do it.
How old is your daughter now? If you mind me asking.
She's 5.
She's 5. So yeah, you in it now. We in kindergarten. She got the logic down. Um, how do you think that's impacted how you move? As she been a father, because you say you're a natural born. You'd be in the streets all day if you could, right? But
Yeah,
what do you think it's done for you? What kind of impact has it made on you? Because now you
I
have a
had to
daughter.
adjust. We study adjusting every day. We study adjusting. Ain't no one adjust. It's just a keep adjusting. But I love it because I know she's very in tune. So I know she's gonna be better than both of us. And that's what you want. You want your legacy to kind of like just have a better, understanding in life and just have a better life.
Now, what about being a husband? Like, I want to talk about that because that's a whole nother thing. Like, cause I've experienced it. People have experienced it. You can focus so much on the kids and work, and that'd be kind of it. Like how, especially our age group, we don't even be getting married like that. So,
It's a lost
so
art, huh?
so like you said, you are breaking those curses by doing so and keeping your family together. But I know if there is secret sauce to that, what is it? And if not, like, how do you do it? How do you?
Well, Lika, she my best friend. Like we've been rocking for 15 years plus. So it's like, yeah, we married, for the people. I mean, the paperwork at least, you know what I'm saying? We married, but more than less, she my best friend. So it's like we just through the good, through the bad, we jail through it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's love. And I feel like nothing's perfect. The perception of social media thinks that it's supposed to be glitz, glamour, vacations on the beach every week. But it is that sometimes, but it's not always like that.
just to let y'all know.
Yeah, it is that sometimes, but when it's not like that, we still happy. We still rocking. We still getting through it. And I feel like the reason why you don't see a lot of marriages no more because they chasing just one side of that. They don't want to
Mm.
chase, you know what I'm saying? They don't want to go through the valleys. Every hill has ups and downs. You know what I'm saying? That's a part of like just being successful in general in life and just growing and elevating. Everything has ups and downs. That's just how evolution is. So um, you know, I've been blessed to have a wife that kind of like understands that, you know what I'm saying? And that's why we been rocking for so long because we have an understanding that, we in tune. Like this, we gonna make it through. We Bonnie and Clyde, you know what I'm saying?
Well, man, definitely shout out to you for, like I said, breaking those curses and I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to see that. I've been on my trail to get married as well. I'm trying to get married this year. So when I see people like you and your wife, it definitely inspires me and allows me to know, like, man, you know what this is. I am making the right decision.
Yeah, I mean, your family is your village, and we all need a village. It's biblical.
Mm,
So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Nobody wins when the family feuds.
mm. That's a bar right there. That's it, right? That's a hell of a bar. Nobody wins when the family feuds. Um, unless Steve Harvey is the host. But
That's a bar.
I do want to ask you this question because as we're at the beginning of a new year, and obviously a lot of times they give us new perspective. We get to look back on the last 12 months. Just looking back on the last 12 months, what would you have told yourself if you were able to sit next to yourself on the couch, like your year ago self is sitting right next to you and they're preparing for 2022 and you've already went through it? What would you tell yourself a year ago?
Just keep going harder, keep pushing yourself, keep adding more weight. I think the adding more weight is going, just condition you for what's to come.
Okay. Um, and my final question, and I talked to you a little bit about this early on, and we're going to elaborate on this a little bit. But I always like to ask this question because we don't get the opportunity to answer it sometimes. So I want to provide that opportunity here. That if today was your last day, what's the message you want to leave your loved ones? I'd like to kind of break it down a little bit, if you don't mind. So, uh, I would like to start with, your parents. What's the message you want to leave for your parents if today was your last day?
Love. Thank you for the love you've given me and the love you have shown me, and thank you for everything you instilled in me. My dad and my mom, one thing, when I talk about this hustle, I embody that because of them. I was able to see them do that. My mom and dad was heavily in the streets, and me moving out at the age of 17, and getting my own spot and being independent, all that I got to get a credit to them, Wyletta Brown and George Stewart. And so, I just want to say thank you to them, because me seeing that allowed me to be the person that you see today.
And just moving forward, if you do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I do.
Well,
Yeah.
you gotta holler at at the siblings, and what's something that you want to share with them.
um, Cause my siblings, like, they wasn't like, I was kind of really like the only child, really, cause my siblings was like older and doing their thing. But I want
Hmm.
to say to them, like, thank you too, cause when they was around, I'm pretty sure I picked up and learned something from them too. But yeah, that's more so on my dad's side. But it's like they was a little bit older and already in their life, and so it's like I wasn't really around them a lot growing up. I was
Hmm.
really like the only child. You feel me?
Yeah.
So it's like weird. But I do have siblings, so I gotta say I cannot say I don't have them. But I didn't really gain a lot from them being around because they wasn't really around a lot.
Right. Right on. Um, and then of course, we got to go into, if you do have any immediate family, like any like cousins, that was blood can make y'all know close. You got them cousins like me and Kev, like that's my brother pretty much. I don't know if you do, but if you have those, auntie, those immediate family members that really had an impact on your life.
Yeah, just thank you. I just it's really a sense of gratitude, because family, when you growing up as a child, like it go back to what I was saying, you need a village. You need your aunties, you need your grandmas, you need everybody to kind of like help out your mom, because she might be in her bag doing her thing. Like, I
Right.
know that was my mom. My mom was in this, like, it's my story deep. Like, if I was to put a movie out, it'd be like, dang, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Lika say that all the time. Like, my mom was, I had to learn a lot. I had to jump off the porch early. So,
Hmm.
my mom was out doing her thing, my dad was doing their thing, and so a lot of my siblings, my grandma really kind of like raised me a lot. I used to go to
Yeah.
my grandma's house a lot, and And so I just, I got my grandma tatted on me by Bella. And so she know, she watching, she hear this, she know it's love. I love you, and thank you for just everything you taught me. I get a lot now. Me being older, I see a lot of like me just a lot of my mannerisms I get from my grandma. I see that.
Yeah, it's like shout out to all the '80s babies. I know I spent a lot of time with both my grandmas as well. That just was the times, I guess, and
I mean, they was out. They was,
grandma was holding it down, man. I don't know what else grandpa at, but grandma was holding it down.
you know what I'm saying. So it's like,
Yeah,
but everybody did their part. It's the village.
yeah, yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I'm
for
saying.
sure. And then of course I want to talk to you about your wife. If this was your last day and you could give her a final message, what would you want her to know?
To death do us part. We locked in, and I feel like we have made each other better in so many ways. And she know that, and I tell her that all these things that I'm saying, I tell her that. One thing I do a lot is I use the word love a lot. I tell my daughter I love her every day, every second. And I tell Lika I love her every day, every second, because love is that's what conquers everything. That's the foundation. You know what I'm saying? So, I would just tell her like I love you. She know I love her, and you know, that's it.
I don't know. And then seven, your daughter. What's the message you want to leave her with? This is your last opportunity to leave her with something.
Purpose. We gotta find your purpose, Seven. Follow your purpose. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like once you find your purpose, that's when you can navigate. It's
Mm.
like, if you we get in a car right now, as long as we got a destination, we can put it in our phone and we're gonna get there the fastest route. That's what your purpose is. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? And you gotta understand in that route, it's gonna be it's gonna be trials and tribulations, but you're gonna have to make adjustments. But you got the destination though. You just as long as you follow that purpose, you can see it out. That's it. So for my daughter, I would just say I want her to find her purpose.
Right on. And last but not least, the homies, man. We ain't gotta say my name because there's so many people that that's in that, but they know who they are, And so, like, what would you want to let the homies know if today was your last day?
Man, we made it as a collective. And the reason why I say that, let me elaborate. Cause we at the age now where all the homies, they in tune, like they all following their purpose. So we made it. I feel like when you in your 20s, right? You green. Like you experience stuff like me going to prison and all that. Everybody's like trying to find their way. But a lot of my homies, we in our 30s now. And I see a lot of my homies, I look around, I see Kev doing this thing, I see Tree doing this thing, and I just say we made it. Because we made it because now we all aligned on what we need to be doing.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. That was my last question, man. I would like you to let people know if you do have anything coming up, releasing, or just what you want them to know. People out there listening.
We got a lot of new stuff coming up, new music, new merch. Um, it's a lot of stuff, man. Just stay tuned, man. Follow all the social media handles, man. Urban Trademark 7 on everything. And just know it's a lot coming up. I don't really like to speak it because man, sometimes man, y'all be getting into it. Y'all get into them before I get into them. So I gotta be kind of like holding out on ideas nowadays. But just know like we always working. It's always something on the way. And just stay in tune.
Right on. Well, man, hey, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you sitting down with me. It was an honor, ladies and gentlemen.
Likewise, likewise. I appreciate you keeping them. And let me give you your flowers. man, I seen where you started from. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of seen it. One thing I want to say, man, is I'm a visionary, man. I could tell when somebody got it. And I knew back then when I seen you first start, I knew you had it because a lot of people gotta have it perfect to start. You didn't look at it like that. I seen that. You started right at the house. You didn't look at what you needed. You just used what you had.
Mm.
And I think that was the one thing that stuck out to me to you is that I knew that was gonna be your biggest catalyst. Is that you was just gonna continue to grow off of that. Like, okay, I'm here now. I made it this far, but what can I use to get me here? And so, what you doing and what you cultivating. Like I said, it's a lot of podcasts that email us to reach out to us, but you asking questions that really help the culture, that inspire the culture. And that's one of the reasons why I want to come on here because I feel like I inspire a lot of people. And I knew you was gonna ask me the right questions for me to allow me to inspire more people. You know what I'm saying? And so I just wanted to give you your flowers, man. Keep doing what you're doing, and it's up.
Man, hey, I appreciate those flowers and I accept them as to you as well, man. It's been an honor to watch you build, to watch you grow, to watch every step you make. I mean, we only got so much time. We couldn't get to everything, but I seen the stuff you went through with certain companies, what I'm saying, that didn't have your best interest.
Yeah, that
And
come with the
man,
game, man.
I,
That come with
I
the
take my
game.
hat off to you because your grind has been commendable. You've built a life for yourself, given to where you started from, and a lot of people probably would have counted you out. And now those same people who probably would have counted you out gotta look
Yeah,
up
that's
to
what I'm
you.
saying. They still
You
counting
know,
us out, but
but you
that's
know
why we
how
do it.
it is. Well, ladies and gentlemen, go. Appreciate you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you, Keith.